All right, so here we are in the 15th hole, and even though it's a short hole, there's something tricky about it for most of us. There's a lot of trouble right, there's a lot of trouble left. So let's say I get up here and I hit my ball up on the canyon, up on the right, up on the hillside on the right. What are my options? My options are to re-tee it, or to use the drop zone, or to determine where the ball last crossed the margin of the hazard. So on 15, the margin of the hazard is the right side of the cart path. It's not properly marked, but in the good old days, there was a red stripe all the way along the right edge of that thing. So you could determine kind of where you could get a drop. And sometimes that drop would be better than utilizing the drop zone. The problem we have with some of the guys in the club is they see where the ball ends up and they think they ought to be able to drop dead left from that point. The ruling is, where did it last cross the margin of the penalty area? Sometimes it doesn't even get over the fence. So most of the time it's best to just use the drop zone unless your group concurs that you made it all the way up to the tree, it hit the cart path and bounced up there past the tree or something like that. You might get a good drop, but in most cases you're using the drop zone. Now beyond that, let's say you get up here, you don't have the flare problem, you got the hooky thing going. You clear the fence, it hooks down into the stuff. We're not real sure whether it's in play or not. We go find the ball, and at that point we determine, is it in play or not. If it's beyond that little fence down there, it's in the penalty area. But if it's this side of that fence down there, it's actually in play. And that fence is not a boundary fence. That's an internal fence. And if you're this side of it, you're actually entitled to relief, free relief, from the fence no nearer the hole, which in some cases you're way right. You got to kind of go quite a ways to the right to not be closer to the hole. And you get relief from the fence, but not the bushes and all the other stuff that's hanging over there. So it's a weird call. We're going to go down there. We're going to take some shots near that fence, and we'll give you an example of what we're talking about. So in this case here, I kind of dive hooked one off the tee, and it's down here near this interior boundary fence, and it's actually in play. They actually put some penalty area markers here. There's a few, and if they mark it properly, you would know right where the boundary is. But when there's stakes, the line between this stake and that stake determines the margin of the penalty area. So I'm in play. I'm not out of play. This is a loose impediment. I could move that if I want. I could try to play it from here if I want, but that fence, which is an internal boundary fence, impedes my swing. I don't get relief from these bushes, but I get complete relief and stance from that internal boundary fence. So to determine how that is, I cannot be closer to the hole. And so we have to move along and figure out where my swing would be. Let's say I go over here, and now I'm not going to hit that fence, but I got issues with the bushes. That doesn't matter. I can take my free drop to here, and if it rolls back in here not more than 2 club lengths and we got a problem, that's the problem. So in many cases it's easier to go over to the drop zone over there and just play the ball. But let's see what happens here. Let me try it. I'm going to pick up the ball. I would walk no closer to the hole to here. My nearest point of relief is kind of here. I would mark that point of relief. Then I'd have a club length and a 180 degrees around it to drop my ball, as long as it doesn't roll more than 2 club lengths. If I'm good at dropping, I might get lucky. Not that good at dropping, but I think I can play that. No penalty stroke. I think I can advance at 60, 50, 60, 70, 80 yards up the hill without a penalty stroke. My other option is to go, it's an unplayable lie. Then I got to take a penalty stroke.